guys, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and today we're setting up one of our new racks. We're going to kind of show you how we do that. But before we get there, we really like these tall grass racks. We're going to take a look, Kurt. These are our originals. We've been using these for a long time. You know, we'll provide a link to these in the bottom if you guys want to get a link to Tall Grass's website if you're interested. First, I want to say we're in no way, shape, or form affiliated with Tall Grass, other than the fact we know those guys and we buy stuff from them. But they don't pay us to say what we're going to say, so we're going to give you an honest review of why we like these, why they may be for you, why they may not be for you, and show you how we set them up. This is our first attempt at racks, and we were a pretty early adopter. They were good to us, but you can see there were some things wrong, and we had to put these wood in because it was cracking out here. And I told them they were cracking out there and causing me some issues. So what they have done, if you look at these new ones, it is much thicker bracing. So you're not going to have that nearly the same way. It's not going to crack that the way it did this. See the difference? So that's going to be a major, major improvement on the newer style. The other complaint I have on these tall grass racks is you can see we go through and we zip tie racks together. And even then, it still has a little bit of a wobble to it. Not bad. I got to try to do that, okay? It's not horrible. You know, I have these two zip tied together. I think they're a little more stable. You're probably saying, whoa, they're wobbling more. Remember, these are full of snakes and substrate. They did improve the feet on them, but they are still a bit wobbly, especially if you have one 10 stack. So if you buy a 10 stack and you put it together, it's going to feel kind of like the Leaning Tower of Pisa at times. That's really my only bitch about these. Let me tell you what I like and why I keep buying them. A lot of the other companies that build racks, they build some really nice things, but you end up having to buy this big unit all at once, and this is extremely expensive. If you're like me and you grow over time, they sell these in 5 stacks. See? And they stack. So you could go 15 high if you have high enough ceilings. We haven't. We've gone 10 high. But you can buy 5 at a time. So you can buy 5. When you're ready, buy a 5 stack, a 5 stack, a 5 stack, or in this case, we bought 20 tubs all at once. Still a lot cheaper than having to buy the ones that are 30. The other nice thing is when you're measuring your room out, you know, you may not have room for long rack, long rack, long rack. Here I can use every bit of space because I can fit a rack 10 more in just this thin of a space. So that's what I really, really like about it. Another thing I like is the tub they use. Built-in water dish. Super, super nice. It doesn't get spilled, doesn't cause messes, easier to maintain. You know, these are great. These are from Freedom Breeders, so they do source their tubs from there. I also like the heat system. Take a peek at this. It's a floating heat mat. So it's not actually on the snake tub. There's airflow underneath. There's airflow above. They tested these and plugged these directly into the wall, and it still got too hot. You got to run a thermostat, but it didn't get so hot that it would have killed snakes. There was still enough temperature in the tub they can move to the front and not die. So I feel it's kind of a good safety thing. It's not going to melt the tub. Didn't get that hot. Not going to start fires, even if your thermostat manufacturer's malfunctions. So that's kind of my favorite thing about these. Just the way I can design an entire room. They even sell single stacks. So if I wanted to go 11-12 high and 11-12 high here, I could. So there's a lot of versatility. That's what I like. That's probably my favorite thing about these. And then the heating system, because I feel it's a very safe way to heat and very effective. Using the old system, which is the same as the new ones, save for the better rails and the better feet, our breeding success was very, very good in these. So I've had a year experience with their racks on the old ones. You know, a whole breeding season. They did great. So now we're ready to buy more, purchase more, which we did. Now we're setting those up. All right, Kurt, before we get into how we set these up, any more information on these we want to share?
Not really. Just that I like how they do the heat too, because the tub is not dragging on it all the time.
So yeah, you're not going to wear that heat mat out and cause a short from the tub dragging over it. So that's great. One thing, if you buy the full-size ones, they do come flat-packed. So be prepared to do some assemblies. Eric put together a really good how-to video, so it's pretty simple. It took us about, maybe half an hour to get the first one figured out. Then we ran these like an assembly line, so it's really not that bad at all. Now, let's get to how we set these up. Okay, first of all, we take one tub. This is going to be our control tub. I like to stick my control tub in the middle. The reason being is heat rises, so it could be a little warmer at the top, a little cooler at the bottom. So if I'm going to base my heat for an entire 10 stack, I like to do it in one of the two middle tubs. We run these together through one thermostat probe. What we're using is a Herpstat 2. We'll do an entire separate review on those Herpstats here soon, what we like, what we don't like, etc. So we're going to set all that up, and I am a little different. I like to mount my thermostat probe right in the tub, okay? There's a reason why I do that. Some people are going to say, oh, you can't do that. Snake's going to move, it's going to cause problems. We simply melt a hole. You can drill one too. I prefer melting, less sharp edges. Probe fits right in, okay? Really nice kind of pressure fit. But could they move this theoretically? Sure they could. Should be in the water dish there, Kurt. Ah, somehow, oh, there it is. The next thing I do is I put 2 holes here in the bottom because I want to secure that down. You don't want to use tape, because if you use tape or some kind of adhesive that's sticky and it gets on the snake, it's going to cause you all kinds of problems. So all I do is I simply put this in here like so, run it up, run it down through the other hole, bring that in there. And you're probably saying, gee, Matt, this seems like a crap ton more work. Why would you go through all this? Well, let me tell you. The reason why we go through all this is quite simple. Kurt, where are those clippers that you had a second ago? We'll clip that in a second.
I use scissors.
Oh, here, these will work. Let's clip off my excess down here so we don't cause drags ourselves. The reason why we go through all this is because where do you really want to measure the temperature in your snake tub, right? Here, on the hot spot. You want to measure it right here. I don't give 2 shits what the temperature is underneath, above, or any of that. This is what I want to be consistent. So if I mount my thermostat probe here that controls that temperature, if my ambient room temperature changes a little bit, because it's going to at times, then this is still going to control this to 90. Or if I mount it underneath, and I'm having to guess here and use a different temperature probe here and all of that, and my ambient temperature has changed, this is set to 105, I may get off because everything else affected it. Here, it should adapt with the changes. By doing that, it's not going to come out of there. It's secure. There's no sharp edges in there for the snake to drag on. I mean, this is how we've done it, and it works great. So then all we do is we're going to take that tub, feed that in there, and it slides over just like that. So now we've got 10 tubs ready, and you can see it's going to start shooting up. They're probably too hot right now because of the way they've been set up. But we'll go ahead and set this. And the nice thing is, on these, put my output mode to dimming. That's what I want. Oh, come on. And the difference in pulse and dimming. Pulse is on off. Dimming, it can go percentage wise. Dimming is what you really want. That's why you pay extra for these kind of thermostats. So then we want to set our daytime temperature. Set to 85, so it probably won't be too hot. We're going to kick that bad boy right up to 90. The reason we're going to do that is I want to make sure this is on off. It is. Off. I don't do any ramping. We should be fine right there. The reason we do that is because maximum power is fine on these. When you set it that way at 90, it's going to be 90 in that tub, right? That's what's going to happen, and that's what we really want. So we can go out of here, exit our alarms, back, and this is one thing I don't much care for. I'm going to do all that. Exiting menu, and you can see it's probably going to be reading pretty close to that 80.3, 80.4. It's going up as that's over the heat. And you can see that percentage is how much percentage it's putting out for heat in there now. So that's all we do. That is how we set these up. A few other things that I like to do before we start adding snakes is these water cups are great. These are actually sent to us by a YouTube fan. They're just deli cups. They're 16 ounce. And what you do with these, check this out. It's like a magic trick. Bam! They fit right in there. So you need to change water, quick dump. You can fill, you can wash these if it's gross and they shit in it. You don't want to mess anything, throw it away and just put in a new cup. They're not too expensive. So that's what I really like about these. We just go through every one of these. You fit a cup. Not too big of a deal. Alright? Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and set up, I'm not going to bore you with all the details. So we're going to go ahead and set up one full tub on camera. And then what we'll do is after that, I'll do the rest off camera because you guys really want to watch me just set up tubs. I'm going to bet you don't. Next you need to have substrate. I like to pull the cup out. That way if I get a little substrate in here, it's already in the water. And then we're using the Reptile Prime. I find one bag of this Prime typically does about 3 of those tubs. That's what I find. Now, another great thing.
That wasn't a full bag?
That was not a full bag, no. No, not a full bag at all. That was a remnants of the bag we've been using for a while. I'll show you a full bag. It's right here, the full bag. And it won't take much of this one to get that where I want it. It holds humidity very, very well. And it works really well when paired with these tall grass tubs. I have been extremely happy with how this works. So all you want to do is kind of get the bottom covered, maybe a few inches deep. That'll probably do it. But because it does such a good job and it comes out really dry, one problem I had in this exact setup using the block coconut was you had to soak that block coconut to use it, right? Because it comes in a thick block. And then it was already really, really moist. So when you did that, what would end up happening is it would be too wet, right? I don't want it that wet. So now I just simply come through, spray it down, moisten it up. I don't want it soaked. And right about there is going to create the perfect snake environment for what I want to do. So we add that. We're going to add some water to that. And we're going to put a snake in here. And that's pretty simply it. Like, that's all there is to it. So we got to do what we're due for a new home. Why don't we go ahead and get that rolling. We'll put this girl in her new home. This is our female bumblebee, who was bred to a calico last year. You know what? She had a boyfriend over. We'll go ahead and put him in the new apartment too. And again, you can see we're going to go with calico. So that's a pairing that we missed the calabees on. So hopefully we'll get them this time. All I got left to do is add some water, and this is done. Kurt, you got any questions?
Is that bowl big enough for these snakes?
This bowl?
Yep.
It is. It is. One thing they're not going to be able to do is soak in it. So if you wanted to be able to soak, this isn't a good tub for it. But one thing I have noticed is you don't have near as much of that desire in these tubs because they hold humidity so well. It's usually humid enough they're not trying to raise the humidity. You will see females bowl wrap, especially when they're starting to build and build towards ovulation. They tend to bull wrap a lot. They will spill some water out of there and make a wet area if they need. I haven't had any problem with sheds or anything else using this size bowl. That was one of my concerns going to these tubs. I usually use a bigger water dish, but this has actually been great. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Alright guys, if you're interested in a rack, these come highly recommended. I really like them, other than the wobble issue, but that's pretty minor when you consider all the benefits. What we'll also do once we finish getting all these filled and set up is we'll bring these all together and we'll zip tie them all together, and then it gets tighter and tighter each and every time. So the more we add, the better it is. Alright, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. But that is how we set up a rack, and that is why we like the tall grass, especially the new design. Any questions?
No.
Alright guys, we'll see you next week.